Have you ever noticed how we measure ourselves using our best days? The day we woke up early, went for a workout or at least for a walk, we made healthy breakfast, we packed lunch, we played with the kids, answered all our messages, we folded the laundry, we finished our work, even read a book before bed. And then we quietly expect every day to look like that. But the reality is, most days don't. Because most days are just ordinary. Someone wakes up with a fever. The baby didn't sleep the whole night. There is extra work. The maid hadn't turned up the previous day, so the sink is full of dirty dishes. You're tired before lunchtime. And somehow, we still compare that day to our imaginary perfect day. I have been thinking about this a lot lately because I had one of those days today, a really full day. I worked hard, I was busy almost every minute. And yet, at the end of the day, I had this strange feeling that I hadn't done enough. Not because I was lazy, not because I wasted time, but because my mind had quietly made a list of another 20 things I could have done. Maybe you know that feeling too. You finish one thing, and instead of feeling satisfied, your brain is immediately pointing to everything that's still left. It's such a common feeling, especially among mothers, because our work never really ends. There is always one more meal, there is always one more load of laundry, there's that one more email, one more school form, one more toy on the floor. If that's how we measure ourselves, we'll never feel finished. And maybe that's the problem, right? Maybe we are using the wrong measuring stick. Think about brushing your teeth. Nobody brushes for 3 hours on Sunday so that they don't have to brush for the rest of the week. It sounds ridiculous because we understand that some things only work through consistency. Health works exactly like that. Relationships work exactly like that. And I think motherhood works like that too. Your children don't need one incredible version of you every Saturday. They need a reasonably calm, reasonably present version of you most days. Not perfect, available. There is a big difference. Sometimes we believe we are aiming for excellence, but what we are actually chasing is intensity. One day of doing everything and followed by 3 days of exhaustion and then guilt. Then another burst of trying to catch up. It's an exhausting cycle, mothers. Instead, what if we asked a different question? Not, did I do everything? But, did I do the few things that mattered today? Maybe today that answer is yes. The children were fed, you showed up for work, you remembered your medication, you had your water intake, you had one decent meal, you hugged your child, you replied to the important messages. That's it. That's not failure. That's life. I know someone listening might be thinking that's easy to say. And I agree. It is easier said than done because self compassion sounds lovely until you're the one who forgot the library book or ordered takeout again or skipped your walk or lost your patience. And that's when it's the hardest. It's the hardest when you are the one who is losing control. So instead of trying to magically become someone who is kind to herself, try something smaller. Ask yourself this: if my closest friend had my exact day, what would I tell her? Would I call her lazy? Probably not. You'd probably say, you had so much going on. You did what you could. I hope tomorrow feels a little lighter. Isn't it strange that we are able to see reality so clearly for someone else, but not for ourselves? Maybe self compassion isn't pretending everything is fine. Maybe it's describing your day accurately, not through guilt, through facts. And those facts are: I worked, I cared for my family, I got interrupted 20 times, I was tired, I still managed to do the essentials. And that's a very different story from I didn't do anything today, because most of the time that isn't true. There is another thought that helps me. It's that nobody is watching us as closely as we think they are. We imagine everyone notices that our house isn't perfectly tidy, that our dinner wasn't homemade, that we repeated the same outfit, or that we didn't volunteer at school this week. But honestly, most people are busy living their own lives, their own messy lives. And if someone does judge, that belongs to them and not to you. You don't have to carry someone else's expectations as your daily burden. Your job isn't to impress the people with how much you can juggle. I didn't think you were a professional juggler, anyways. Your job is to build a life you can actually sustain for the next 30, 40, or even 50 years. Because sustainability doesn't look exciting, it looks ordinary. It looks like drinking enough water most days, adding protein to your breakfast more often than not, taking a 10-minute walk instead of waiting for an hour, putting away a few things instead of deep cleaning the whole house, going to bed when you're tired instead of finishing every task. Ordinary looks just enough. And maybe that's the biggest shift. What if our goal wasn't to have exceptional days? What if your goal was to make ordinary days feel manageable? Because, see, life isn't lived on extraordinary days, it's lived in the ordinary one. So, if today felt like a 60% day, maybe that's exactly what today needed. Not every day asks for everything you have got. Some days simply ask you to keep going. And there is something quietly powerful about that. Tomorrow, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to catch up. You don't have to earn the right to rest. Just do your core. Do the few things that truly matter and let that be enough. Because a life built on just enough, repeated over and over again, is often stronger than a life built on occasional perfection. And maybe that's the kind of life we're really trying to create.